Awesome. It looks like your answers are slowly starting to come in here for me. I'll just give you a couple more seconds to get these going.
It didn't pop up for me. Is that because I'm using an old version of Zoom?
Yeah, it might have to do with just the version of Zoom. That's okay. Perfect. I'll just, thanks for sharing. I will put up this on the screen here for everybody so you can see the results. So question number 1, do you eat a current plant-based diet? The answer is no. Curious here. So between humans and livestock seem to be 50-50 in terms of the biggest consumption of soy and benefits of a plant-based diet. So it looks like 50-50. So I hope by the end of this, we can kind of clear up a couple myths and share some information with you. So I will get started here. This is a presentation on plant-based cooking. Personally, myself, I've been on a plant-based diet for the last 8 years, just out of personal preference, but I'm also really passionate about lots of people including vegetables and other kinds of bits of protein into their diet to have a really rounded approach to nutrition. So the first one we're going to go over is our learning outcomes. So my goal for this evening is that you'll be able to identify 3 plant-based alternative protein sources and also name 3 common dishes that can be created plant-based by the end of it. The first protein that I want to go over is chickpeas, otherwise known as garbanzo beans. So this is a really great opportunity. You can eat them dry, you can grab them canned. They don't really have a ton of flavor on their own, so can really be mixed with anything to create anything kind of warm and spicy, a little bit more sweet as well. So I've got a little protein comparison chart on the side here. So chicken breast in comparison to chickpeas, you've got chickpeas coming in around 41 grams and chicken breast coming around 37 grams per 1 cup serving. And then right down here as well is a really big difference is going to be around fiber comparison. So I know a lot of people will cook their chicken breast in something that will contain a little bit of fiber, but just for the purpose of this exercise, you're going to get about 23 grams of fiber and 1 gram of fiber versus chicken breast. Right now, the biggest producers of chickpeas is in India, but they're commonly found also in Canada, the States, really common in, I believe Malaysia also carries them as well. Really low glycemic index for so anybody that's struggling with diabetes, this is a really great protein in terms of a plant-based product to add to your diet. This is going to help by preventing any sudden surges in your blood sugar. Aside from the protein and fiber we spoke about, really rich in things like folate, which is the B vitamin, iron, and healthy fats, and contains a plant sterol similar to cholesterol. And what that's going to do is it's going to interfere with the body's absorption of cholesterol and help naturally lower your blood levels. I've included one of my favorite recipes here, and this is by She Glows, which is a massive online and cookbook presence that she's been doing for several years now. So this is a chickpea salad sandwich, kind of to mimic the idea of like an egg salad sandwich, really rich in chickpeas to hold it together. Kind of got that like mayo-y texture to it, along with lots of red peppers and celery. You can throw them in pitas. Sometimes I get lazy and eat it by itself. It's also great that way. The next one, which a lot of people are really quite familiar with, is tofu. I usually get pretty interesting remarks on tofu. It can have a little bit of a bad taste to it if it isn't really seasoned or cooked properly. This one originally comes from China and now includes top producers in Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines. We also have a really big producer of it in Vancouver here, just with the amount of soybeans we're able to get. So this is sold in all kinds of different flavors, formats, and sizes based on culinary desire. Smoked tofu is one of my personal favorites, but you can also get things like mango, kiwi flavors, strawberry, things just throw in smoothies that are a little bit softer, just to add a little bit more nutrient to your morning smoothie. As we learned from the beginning there, most of the soy in the world is actually consumed by livestock, which is really, really interesting. I actually just found that out while I was doing this project, so much so that in 2006, the soy moratorium was signed to ban soy grown and harvested in the Amazonian land. What was actually happening was a lot of deforestation from sourcing soybeans specifically to actually feed livestock, but also for human consumption as well. So it's definitely recommended when you're sourcing tofu, take a look at where this is being sourced. Brazil is now considered a protected area, but Canada, Malaysia, Thailand are all fantastic places to be able to get this product. I've included this, the Southwestern style baked tofu. If you're a fan of barbecue, this one's super awesome, really rich in like paprika, cumin. It's almost got like a blackened taste to it. And I've done these before on the barbecue. You can throw them on air fryers. My trick with tofu is the more that you marinate them, you're going to get a little bit of a richer flavor as it absorbs through. Lots of people you'll see in this little one will do it kind of more of a burrito style. You can add things like brown rice and quinoa to it if you want to change your flavors a bit. The next one is fantastic for those on a budget, and that is lentils. So the two biggest producers of these are in Canada and India. They're very inexpensive to get in grocery stores due to the fact that they're so local in Vancouver and BC. There's tons of different lentils. I've included 3 in the picture. So one is going to be a red lentil, really great for soups, smashes up really easily. Green lentils are great to have a little bit more of a thick protein. And then we've got the black beluga lentils on the right side, which are going to be really, really rich in things like iron, fiber, and proteins. And these ones can often be served in Mediterranean dishes on their own as a protein because they are really quite filling. These ones date back to Egyptian tombs, so 2400 BC, which is pretty interesting. They were found in all kinds of archaeological digs, and often they were actually known as the food for the poor because they were so inexpensive to source to feed yourself and others. For this one, I've ended just a really, really simple one, the one pot golden curry lentil soup for the change in season. This one's so great, really, really simple with like a vegetable broth. You've got some lentils, carrots, cilantro, and usually a bit of sweet potato just to bring a bit of warmth to this. With any of these recipes, of course, I'm happy to share, but this is where you can definitely source them, is off Minimalist Baker for this one. I'm just going to make this short and simple. So just the recap and renew. So we've got their top 3 easy to source plant-based proteins and recipes around those, as well as a couple short history, nutrition information, and facts. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this full screen and stop sharing my screen. And I just wanted to open it to anyone if you have any questions, curiosities, or you just want to have a discussion around that.
Awesome presentation and so interesting. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, yeah, I need to start eating more chickpeas again.
Awesome.
Yeah, so good.
You've made me hungry. It's lunchtime here, so seeing all that
amazing.
Food is,
you're ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very professionally done.
Thanks, James.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised that the chickpeas actually has more protein ratio than the chicken breast. Because to my minimal knowledge, that I always thought that that the animal meat always has higher protein content. But little do I know that the chickpea actually it's I mean, and not only it's higher in protein ratio, there's also fibers in it. So you actually feel in longer. So that's
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's I definitely recommend it for a quick little snack if you need something to kind of tide you over between meals. For sure, it's really great.
Lauren, I have a question. When you show the recipe, it's like a sandwich.
Yes.
I have a question because I have heard that when you mix, I am vegetarian. When you mix grains with high foods high in iron, you kind of like don't absorb the iron well. So I was wondering if you have any knowledge about that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say, like, I'm not a dietitian, so I don't have a ton of information around it, so I don't want to ill-inform you. But from my understanding, you definitely have to have a certain amount of B vitamins, D vitamins, and iron to be able to absorb them all together. So in the one recipe that I shared, one of the things that's really key in that is nutritional yeast, which is really commonly found for those in plant-based, almost a bit of a cheesy, nutty flavor. And that's really good to kind of help balance out the iron content in the chickpeas.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I've read that you can use the liquid drain from the chickpeas. Do you do that? And what do you use it for?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. That is like the gold in its own if you have it from a can. So what it's called is called aquafaba. So if you are a fan of creating things like whipped textures, like lemon meringue pie, you can honestly just take like a hand mixer and beat it, and it'll actually turn into a nice whipped fluffy texture. Oftentimes in a lot of plant-based cooking as well, things like muffins will call for a tablespoon of aquafaba just to actually hold it together and create a little bit more density when using more like plant-based flours like coconut flour or rice flours.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is it possible for us to get the links somehow of the recipes?
100%. I'm happy to share those in the chat for you. Yeah.
Gracias.
You're welcome. Awesome. Okay. Well, I will stop my recording. Feel free always to